Hello my dear friends, once again I welcome you to Marriage Without Tears channel. This is your ultimate channel for married couples that want to make a difference in their marriage. If you are actually out there and you want to see or understand some of the skills that can fine-tune your marriage and make it better as the days go by, this is the channel to be. Last week we discussed a topic, the 12 fundamental reasons why a man, a husband, can dump his wife and move on. We discussed 12 of them actually. And today we are flipping the coin, because after last week I had a lot of calls of people who were telling me, is that about the man, what about the woman? There are also reasons why a woman can walk away, and I said yes. Today we are flipping the coin and we are looking at the 7 critical reasons why a woman can abandon her husband and move on without caring about her marital vows. We are going to look at 7 of them. The reason why we are doing some of these productions is simply to enable you look at your marriage comprehensively and be able to weigh some of the areas where the roof is leaking, so that you can be able to plug that roof, leaking roof, and then have a better marriage as the years go by. So we are going to look at the 7 critical reasons why a woman can abandon her husband and walk away from her marital vows. Once again, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so immediately. Look at this red button by my side, click on it and get subscribed. In this edition, I'm going to start from number 7 and then we'll take it to number 1. Every point is very, very important, very critical, and I want you to listen attentively. The 7th one is lack of intimacy. I have seen situations where young men and women get married, and for the fact that they want to seek for greener pastures, a man can abandon his wife, his newly married wife, and they move on to another country. Some of our Nigerian friends, they travel to US, travel to Canada, leaving their wives behind. I mean, this is a woman whom you have already quickened in the area of enjoying intimacy and sexual intercourse and all that. Now you have left her in the cold, you have moved on. Even though you are making frantic phone calls and these things, there will come a time when loneliness will invade her. There comes such periods of time, and she may want to look outside there for fulfillment. There are also people who are so involved in their businesses. Today they are in Hong Kong, the next day they are in China, the next day they are in Singapore, the next day they are in America, the next day they are in Switzerland. And even when they have little time to spend at home, when they come back to their spouses, when they come back to their wives, they don't spend enough time with her. So this woman loses all it takes to be intimate with her husband. She is now preoccupied in loneliness. She doesn't know what else to do. There are people who are politicians every day. They are campaigning, moving from one city to the other. At a point in time, loneliness invades her. I will never forget a story about Michelle and Barack Obama. It's a true story, really, from the woman. She said at a particular point in time, she nearly divorced the man simply because the man was always on campaign trail. Every time he's out there speaking to people, to the extent that she began to feel lonely at home. It has to take the support of, she has to reach out to her support base, her friends, her, neighbors, people that were close to her in order to, find fulfillment. But it's not always the case with other people. So lack of intimacy that leads to loneliness can make a woman begin to look outside of the boundaries of her marriage for fulfillment and for validation. So if you are a man out there who is constantly leaving your wife behind, please, either you carry her along to where you are going, or at least anytime you are back, which should be very frequent, make sure that you spend quality time with her. Make her realize that what you are out there doing is for common good. If you don't do that, you'll be surprised. Before you know it, your driver or your gardener may find himself in the arms of your wife. These things happen from time to time. So it is very necessary for you to take cognizance of that fact. Don't allow your wife to be too lonely to the level whereby she begins to look outside for validation. Very important. That's my number 6. Number 6, irreconcilable differences in the marriage. When people marry, obviously they come from diverse settings and backgrounds. Because of that, there could be differences in visions, in goals. There could be differences in perceptions, in values. There can be differences even in their belief system. There can be differences. But the capacity of the couple to yoke together and be able to form a symbiotic relationship where each of them begin to understand how to grow, how to build out of these differences is what makes a successful couple. But when these differences are allowed, to begin to get out of hand to the level whereby the couple do no longer see common ground. I have seen it happen severally. A man gets born again. If you are a Christian out there, a man gets born again, and before you know it, he begins to regard the woman that is not born again as if she's something from the gutter. Why you don't realize that the life of the believing husband sanctifies the one that is the unbeliever. All you need to do is to find time to bring her closer, to draw her closer and closer to you until she begins to experience what you are experiencing in your new spiritual life. But I have seen people who walked away and began to call their husbands all manner of names. Women have done that. I have counseled a lot of women who walked away from their husband simply because he's not born again. He doesn't have the spiritual life. But it is your duty to make him, to draw him closer unto God. There have been also situations where women walk away when they discover that their husband is not supportive of their visions in life. You begin to see differences in the visions of both partners. Somehow the husband does no longer want to listen to her. He no longer want to offer any hand of support in fulfilling her own visions in life or some of the goals that she cherished so much. I know of women who, before they got married, they were fantastic singers or fantastic athletes. But in the course of time, because they have a husband who doesn't give a damn or who is totally unsupportive to what their visions or their goals are, these visions died on their own. And when a person's vision, when a woman's vision dies, she begins to find it difficult to identify with the man's vision. The purpose of marriage is that while you are both growing together, you must also ensure that one another you grow also as individuals. That is the purpose of marriage. So as a man, check your wife. If she has a great vision that will add value to society, add value to you as a husband, add value to your family, please don't undermine that vision. Find a way to understand that vision and support that vision the best you can. The moment you begin to support the woman's vision, she finds it easier to support your own vision, and then the marriage will become flourishing. So many marriages have collapsed because the man never gave enough time to understanding the woman. And if there are differences, unresolved differences, and it is continual, it can damage the very essence of the marriage. At a particular time, the woman will be forced to just pack her kaya and walk out of the marriage. It happens from time to time. I want you as a man to take note. That is my 6th point. My 5th point is what I call emotional disconnection. Of course, I mentioned it in my last video as being a principal factor for the man to walk away from his marriage. This one is also important in the case of the woman. If a woman becomes emotionally disconnected from her husband to the extent that the husband no longer cares about her well-being, he no longer cares whether she desires him or not. Is not always there, no matter whatever she's saying. She discovers that the man has no accommodation for her viewpoints. He can't accommodate her viewpoints. He cannot accommodate her feelings. He does not accommodate. They are disconnected emotionally. The man walks out of the home. He goes for his own business. He comes back. He does not care whatever is happening to his spouse. At a point, this couple can begin to drift apart. Over a period of time, they become strangers living in the same house. When such thing happens, there's a tendency for the woman to begin to look outside there for a man that can validate her. I have seen women, instead of asking for her husband's opinion, their husband's opinion or suggestions, they prefer to ask that from their lecturers or from their pastors or from, from male folks that are out there. And you can never say anything can happen. Because while your wife is seeking counsel from a man outside there that she should have sought from you in the first place, a relationship can develop. And your guess is as good as mine. So, I want you as a man also to take note of this. Don't be so emotionally disconnected from your wife that you begin to sow the seed of separation and divorce. Because it can happen. It can happen. The same way you as the man have options when you go outside there. I can tell you that that lady you are trampling upon, she has great admirers outside there. You may not understand this. But the day will come, and I bet it will not be too late, before you realize that that same woman you are trampling upon is being admired by people out there. And let me also tell you that some of the men you call friends, you may not understand it, but some of your friends are even interested in her. I have seen women who got married months, just a few months after their husband died, to the husband's best friends. It has happened. What do you think has been happening? They have been admiring one another from a distance. Now that you have kicked the bucket, the man finds it easier to come in. And of course, the woman walked into his arms immediately. So, please don't become emotionally disconnected from your spouse. If you do that, you are giving her a chance to do what? To walk away or to go outside there seeking for validation, seeking for the joy and the support of others instead of you. That is my 5th point. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so immediately. This red button by my side, once click on it, you get subscribed. Let me just give you that chance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. Click on it. Become part of my channel because you are going to learn a whole lot from some of the things we discuss here. I will now give you my 4th point. My 4th point. Remember, we are going from 7 to 1. My 4th point really is what I call continual financial distress. When a couple go through stressful financial management, when there is when they don't seem to get together their financial destiny, when they are not able to work fruitfully to attend to their financial needs, cracks can begin to occur in the marriage. You know the song we normally sing in those days, no romance without finance. If the money is not there, the woman is under stress because you can no longer provide her some of the things, some of her expectations when she was coming to the marriage. As the years are going by, she discovers that all her mates that got married at the same time with her, they are riding jeeps, they are doing this and that, they are wearing the best costumes, the best apparels. And look at her, she's looking as dried up as ever. She's looking famished, she's looking hungry, she's trekking. You know, these things can make a woman begin to look at her marriage from a totally negative perspective. So when there is terrible financial stress, please, I want you as a man to do whatever you can to be a quality provider to your wife. It's very, very important because the moment, there is something we say as men. Of course, as a man, you can keep a woman under your roof for 10 years, for 20 years, and as long as you are providing for the home, there will be no complaint. But the moment the table is turned, and the woman provides meals for you for just 1 or 2 weeks, you are in this terrible mess. You see all manner of complaints, all manner of aggressions, and all manner of things begin to happen. So I really ask you this hour to actually look at it very critically, because once there is a continual financial stress, it can create a whole lot of damage to your marital life. So it also becomes very significant if the woman herself is actually not, doing effective work, not doing the kind of profitable work that can take care of her own financial needs. If she's involved in a wonderful career and is making a lot of money, it's a lot of difference because at least she can take care of her own financial needs. But if her financial needs are dependent on you as the man, and each day you are complaining about lack of finances, it can cause a dent in your marriage. This is one of the reasons, because when the pressure is there, really, it is possible for the woman to walk away and seek for solace in the arms of someone else, or at least see how she can ameliorate her financial condition. So this is one of the reasons why women seem to walk away from their marriage. And number 3 actually is what I call lack of effectual communication. When a couple do not communicate effectually, you give room for all manner of misunderstandings and all manner of expectations that at the end of the day becomes flawed. You know, you give room for all manner of stress. You give room for all manner of conflict. So lack of communication is very, it can damage the best of relationships. I have seen couples who don't actually know how to communicate effectively. They communicate the right things at the wrong time. They choose wrong moments to communicate some certain values. They try as much as possible to enforce communication. You know, it doesn't always work well. I have seen couples who, instead of using, you know, love and compassion and empathy to address one another, they choose acerbic words. They choose to fault find. They choose criticism. They choose all manner of ways that undermine their marital relationship. So, if you don't know how to communicate effectively with your spouse, and somehow she finds someone out there that actually communicates with her in a loving, compassionate manner, there's a tendency for her to begin to look at that person with a heart full of love. Because what she's seen in that person is what is lacking in you as a man. If you're not communicating wisely with your woman, if you cannot hold her in the arms and tell her loving things, because every woman wants to be adored, every woman wants to be appreciated, every woman wants to be validated. If you cannot tell her how beautiful she is, how wonderful she is, how supportive she is, and she's doing all the things in her life to get you to that place of admiration, to that place of honor. You know, if you cannot take that opportunity and minister to her, I can tell you that somewhere along the line, somebody is going to ask her, what is actually wrong with you? What is the problem? See, sister, you have been very exciting all these years. But what happened? What is going on? Are you okay? Can you just tell me what is going on? Please, just let me hear you. Maybe I'll be able to provide some of these answers. The moment she opens up to another man, the relationship is already stressed out. She becomes vulnerable. So that anytime she's crying or she's under a mood, instead of sticking your arms to relax and cry, because you are the shoulder for her to cry on, she begins to look outside for a man that you don't even know. And she goes and leans on another man's shoulder and begin to cry upon that shoulder. I can tell you that at that point, she becomes very vulnerable. In the place of pampering her, in the place of ministering to her, that man can end up sleeping with her. And once that happens, the dynamics of the relationship simply changes. So I can tell you, this is one fundamental area where most men miss the point. Quality communication, effective communication, being able to communicate love, being able to communicate compassion, empathy onto your spouse. It can make all the difference. So if you can't do that, I can tell you that your marriage is endangered. So that I will regard as number 3. Now we move on to number 2. Actually, number 2 could be number 1, number 1 could be number 2, but they are they are wonderful. I want you to listen to me. Number 2, I place marital infidelity at number 2. Marital infidelity. And I have my reasons for making it number 2. Marital infidelity. Anytime a man or a woman discovers that the spouse whom she trusted so much has walked out of the marriage to fall in love or fall into the arms of another woman out there, trust factor is gone. The trust is betrayed, and it is very, very difficult to recoup the trust that has been betrayed. Very difficult. If it has taken you 5 years to build trust with your spouse, I can tell you it will take you 20 years to rebuild the trust. So marital infidelity is at the bane of most marriages that are going down. Go to our marriage courts today. 70 or 80% of it is a woman finding herself being married to a man who is in love with another, finding out that her husband is already having an affair outside. Why I place that as number 2 is that in most cases we don't see, wives of well-endowed men very wealthy men that has all the resources at their disposal. We don't see their wives walking away from the marriage because of infidelity. We don't see it. You will find some of these women, they will grow, they will be under that burden, they will feel this, but they will never want to walk away because of some other, other wonderful benefits they are getting from the union. That's why I place it number 2. Otherwise, it should have been my number 1. So I just want to be funny. I know it pains when you see your husband in the arms of another woman, So that is my number 2, marital infidelity. But very few women also, and this is the reason why I place it at number 2, very few women also has the capacity to walk out from it stronger than ever before. They continue with their marriage, and their marriage survives such traumatic experience. Their marriage survive it, and they end up having even a better marriage later. Very few women are patient enough to go through it. So, but marital infidelity is one clear reason why a woman can actually walk away from her marital vows, and many have done that over a period of time. Now, before I give you my number 1, I want you to look at this red button by my side, click on it and get subscribed, be part of my channel. I enjoy discussing these things with you because it ministers to me as well, because some of the experiences I see in my clients and a whole lot of things outside, some of the experiences I also use it to address myself, even as I use it to address you. So I want us to, it's a learning process for all of us, So just click here, subscribe, be part of this channel, go through some of the editions we have done in the past, and you'll see some wonderful content. Some of the things that will bless your union and bless it indeed. So please click, be a subscriber to this channel, and it will be a joyful experience for us. I know you are wondering what my number 1 is. My number 1 is simply violence, physical and mental abuse. It can make any woman walk away from her marital vows. It can make any woman pack her belongings and get out of the home and begin to seek for better life out there. It can make anyone, let me tell you, I have seen men intimidate their wives. Some women have been beaten to their graves. Some women have lost their lives. Some women have lost their essence as a woman. Some women have lost all their faith in the relationship. Some women have been turned into slaves in their own homes. Some women have been so abused and traumatized by a husband who came with a loving tone at the onset of their marriage. That man came with all manner of love, professing all manner of love. But in the process of time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, that man has turned into a beast. It has happened to so many marriages. And when a woman is undergoing that all the time, there's a tendency for her, even her parents, to ask her to pack her things and come home. Even her friends will ask her, what are you still doing there? Do you want to lose your life? What are you doing there? She begins to find all manner of encouragement from her support network to leave her home, to leave the marriage, to abandon it all. And of course, there are so many evidence, there are so many examples of people who have been through what she's going through, and they lost their lives in the process. So she has encouragement from all manner of areas for her to abandon ship. So it's very important for you as a man to understand this. This is one area where even I, as a married counselor, if I discover that marriage is going through a physical abuse that has gone from months to years, and it does not appear as if the man is giving up in tormenting his woman, I might ask them, please get separated for a season. Let's see whether we can address this situation proactively before you come back together as a couple. Because I don't want a person that I am counseling to lose her life in the process, of asking her, be there, don't worry, weather the storm, while every day she's coming out with a broken nose, a broken ear, a broken this and that. No, something has to be done. It has to be fully addressed before she can continue with the union. So, but if the man does not go ahead with addressing that issue, and they can't seek, a way of addressing it, the best marriage can be asked to, they can be asked to be separated. So these are the reasons why women leave their spouses. If you are abusing a woman continually as a man, as a husband, you are abusing a woman continually, there may come a time when she may stand up to you and rather give it back to you, And you may be surprised that if it could even be a gun, your own gun that is in her hand, she will gun you down. There may also come a time when she has taken it all and she will simply decide to walk away, because there are admirers out there who are just looking at her, whether she can give in to them. So please, from all the counseling I have done so far, marital violence is one easy way to end it, and one easy way that women have thrown the towel and walked away from their marriages. I hope I have been able to open your eyes to some certain areas, and I believe, God, that you will use some of the things we said on this very particular edition to fine-tune your marriage. Look at the places where your own marriage is leaking. Look at the places where you both are getting it wrong, so that you can address these issues proactively and be able to have a better, blissful union as the years go by. I appreciate you. Please take out time to click to this very particular button, be a part of this channel, and of course introduce our channel to some of your friends, to some of your loved ones, and let's do this together from week to week. You are blessed. You are blessed indeed. Have a wonderful time. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.